everyone, here's Milan. Shi Huang 259 BC to 210 BC. Surname Ying, first name Zheng, was a powerful legendary figure in the Chinese history, and he is the founding emperor of the Qin dynasty, which is the first unified dynasty in Chinese history. He pushed China into the era of unification, laid down the basic pattern of China's political system for more than 2,000 years, and had a profound impact on Chinese and world history, and was held by the Ming Dynasty thinker Li Zhi as the first emperor of 1,000 years. When we talk about Shi Huangdi, we have to mention about Lü Buwei. This great merchant of the state of Wei often did business in the state of Zhao, and when he saw the Qing's hostage to Zhao, Zichu, he clapped his hands with joy, saying that he is like a strange piece of product which can be hoarded to be sold at a high price. Later, Zichu saw one of Lü Buwei's dancing concubines, Zhao Ji, in a banquet, and was quite fond of her in his heart, so he asked to Lü Buwei to have Zhao Ji. On January 27, 259 BC, Shi Huangdi, the child of Zichu and Zhao Ji, was born in Handan. Later, Zichu lived the state of Zhao, and Zhao Ji and Yingzheng, which is the Shi Huangdi, his name is Yingzheng, were stranded in the state of Zhao. Due to the war between Qin and Zhao, the people of Zhao were very hostile to the people of Qin. Therefore, although Yingzheng was born in the family of an emperor, his childhood was extremely difficult and his life was always in danger. In order to protect himself, he looked his mother's name, Zhao, from birth. When people of Zhao found out the identities of Zhao Ji and Yingzheng, they hated them so much that eldest child nicknamed Yingzheng the abandoned child of Qin. And every time they went out, they were insulted by the people of Zhao. During the 8 years of living in Handan, the capital of Zhao, Yingzheng's young mind was sorely disordered by war and hunger, and he learned to endure humiliations in silence in the midst of adversity. The statue of a king's grandson and the statue of a prisoner combined to form a complex character with both inferiority complex and arrogance, as well as a strong desire of revenge. Later, Zichu returned to the Qing through Lü Buwei's arrangement and was finally made the crown prince after many political struggles. In 251 BC, Yingzheng and his mother finally returned to the state of Qin and moved with her to the Qing palace in Xianyang, where his situation changed dramatically when he was already 9 years old. In 207 BC, after Zichu's death, Crown Prince Yingzheng succeeded him as king and honored Lü Buwei as his prime minister, calling Lü Buwei father. During Lü Buwei's regime, the Qing won many foreign wars and implemented a series of internal economic development measures, which made Qing stronger and stronger and laid the foundation for unification of China. In addition, Lü Buwei helped to eliminate many potential political threats, including Cheng Jiao, the younger brother of Yingzheng, in order to provide Yingzheng with strategies of ruling the country and leveling the world. Lü Buwei organized his supports to compel the Lü Shi Chunqiu. The book advocated the unification of the world in order to establish a centralized feudal state, which provided guidance for Yingzheng's political practice. At the beginning of Lü Buwei's regime, Yingzheng was still young, and the Empress Dowager often had illegal affairs with Lü Buwei. After a few years, Lü Buwei saw that Yingzheng has grown from a child who knows nothing into a thoughtful and capable emperor, so he withdrew and recommended his own servant Lao Ai to the Empress Dowager. Lao Ai became more and more arrogant after he gained the Empress Dowager's favor, and he was not only made Marquis of Changxin, but he also had 2 sons with the Empress Dowager, Zhao Ji, which he raised in his home. With the growing power of Lao Ai, Lü Buwei's heart was getting worse and worse, and he wanted to find a chance to get rid of Lao Ai. So he sent someone to Yingzheng to falsely accuse Lao Ai of fornicating with Empress Dowager. When Yingzheng found out about this, he revolted. So Yingzheng rushed to Yongcheng to suppress his rebellion and he killed his two brothers with his own hands, and then decided to imprison his birth mother, Zhao Ji, in Yongcheng. This incident reinforced his cruel character. In 238 BC, at the age of 22, Yingzheng held a coronation ceremony in his hometown, Yongcheng, and began to take charge of the government. He got rid of Lü Buwei and Lao Ai and reused Li Shi and Wei Liao. And with their help, he formulated a strategy of killing all ministers of other countries and accomplished his own imperial career and unified the world. So the specific measures were to enlist Yan and Qi, stabilize Wei and Chu, and to destroy Han and Zhao. The state of Zhao was to be attacked from afar and broken down one by one. From 230 BC to 221 BC, Qin successfully destroyed the 6 states of Han, Zhao, Wei, Chu, Han, Yan, and Qi. At the age of 39, the Yingzheng accomplished the great cause of unification of China, established a powerful state of centralized power with Han Chinese as the main body of unification, the Qing dynasty, and laid down the boundaries of China itself. Considering himself to be superior to the previous 3 emperors and 5 emperors, Yingzheng was the first person in Chinese history to use the title of emperor by adopting the Huan of the 3 emperors and the Di of the 5 emperors, which is being formed to Huangdi. This is Chinese, and then it means emperor. He was the first monarch in Chinese history who called himself the first emperor. He was also an industrious emperor who handled a heavy load of official duties every day. The records of the grand historian recorded that His Majesty decided on all matters of the world, no matter how big or small, and even weighted of the bamboo and wooden slips on which the documents were written. And there was a quota of documents to be handled during the day and night, and if he could not meet the quota, he did not rest. He continued to implement the legalistic policies of the previous dynasty, the Shang dynasty. He improved the power of the dictatorship, weakened the power of the old nobles, promoted the nobles who had risen up by their military achievements, and abolished the feudal system, and established a set of county and bureaucratic system from the central to local level. In order to consolidate his power, Yingzheng also implemented a series of policies. The main policies were the unification of writing, the unification of currency and weights and measures, the construction of Great Wall, the forced relocation of the rich and commoners of the 6 countries, and the destruction of weapons. The confiscation of civilian weapons from all over the country, which were concentrated in Xianyang, where the iron weapons were melted down and then transported to Xianyang and made into bells and bronze figures. During the regime of Yingzheng, the criminal law was particularly harsh, with clean execution and guilt by association practice, and the system of human martyrdom was also retained. As a result of Yingzheng's stubbornness, the loyal, ambitious soldiers lost the way to give advice, while the flatterers of Zhao Gao were favored, which caused the political environment of the Qing dynasty to be dark and horrible, affecting the implementation of governmental orders, destroying the communication and regulation mechanisms within the ruling class, weakening the ruling power of the country, and shaking the foundation of the Qing dynasty with harsh and abusive policies, which accelerated the Qing dynasty to fall apart. Since the Shang dynasty's change of law, the Qing dynasty had practiced the policy of fooling the people. The Shang dynasty believed that it was easy to rule when the people were ignorant, so it don't let people read books and be wise. He advocated that the state that should focus on agriculture and warfare, and that there was no need for poetry, books, etc., music, or moral indoctrination. He regarded the progress of history, the development of culture, and the various kinds of knowledge and morality that people pursued as harmful things. comparing them to the lice parasitizing people's bodies, which should be removed. In 2013 BC, the Prime Minister Li Si advocated banning the people from using the past as opposed to the present and slandering the imperial government with private studies. Ying Zheng took Li Si's advice and ordered the burning of all historical books and all books that could be used to learn knowledge, and people were forbidden to study privately. After the unification of Ying Zheng winning government, his pleasure-seeking character was fully exposed. He traveled around to show his majesty to the people of the 6 original states in the east and proclaimed the power of the Qin emperor. He ignored the difficulties of people's financial resources in his country and built magnificent palaces on a large scale. In order to continue his enjoyment in life and also after death, he even built himself a magnificent grave for himself. In addition, in order to seek immorality, which is seeking for the method to live forever, winning Jing spent a great deal of money to send a fortune teller to visit the immortals and seek their medicines. In 212 BC, 2 students sent by the Emperor Ying Zheng because of the fear of being punished for failing to get the medicine, so they spread the dissatisfaction with Emperor Ying Zheng and left for their lives. Emperor Ying Zheng was furious and sent his royal inspectors to check on the students in Xianyang and arrested those who were dissatisfied with them. The students denounced each other to protect themselves. As a result, more than 460 of them were implicated and killed in Xianyang for slander. Fu Su, the eldest son of Emperor Ying Zheng, was sent to the northern frontier to supervise the army because of his dissenting views on the pit of Confucian scholars. The burning of books and killing of students by Ying Zheng in 2013 and 2012 BC is a major event in the ancient Chinese history. We can see that it was no accident, but a result of Qing Dynasty's consistent opposition to poetry, books, music, and moral education, suppression of students, and the policy of fooling the people. Weapons for fighting were confiscated, and weapons for thought were firmly controlled in the hands of Emperor Ying Zheng. However, was he himself really safe? Ying Zheng's policy unified ideas and maintained his rule for a short time, but 6 years after burning the books, 3 years after his death, the Qing dynasty fell, and neither Chen Sheng Wuguang nor Liu Bang Xiangyu, who destroyed him, was a scholar. Ying Zheng's character was contradictory. On the one hand, he was wise and intelligent, with excellent political and military abilities, but on the other hand, he was dim and ignorant. Ignoring the people's suffering, he knew people well and find talented people to work for him, but on the other hand, he was cruel and did not take people's lives seriously. Also, on the other hand, he realized that he had died once in a lifetime, even though he was an emperor, and he had to build a mausoleum in advance to prepare for his final resting place. As an emperor, Ying Zheng was one of the saddest men in the history of China's feudal society, whose political practice had a far-reaching impact on the development of history. When Ying Zheng was the king of Qin, he was praised of his sharpness, valor, and wisdom. After the unification of China, although he was selfish and self-serving, he was very strict to formulating national policies, which could be described as cruel and ruthless. However, he often dealt with political affairs by himself until the middle of the night, and was a hard-working emperor rather than just an emperor who did nothing. More importantly, Ying Zheng put an end to the Zhao dynasty, which was a feudal system, and he established a centralized emperor with the emperor as the supreme ruler. The establishment of this emperor made 2 great contributions to the development of the Chinese nation. First, the unification of the country. For the first time, the basic framework of modern China's vast territory was laid down, and the basic pattern of modern China as a world power was also laid down. Secondly, the unification of the system It created a new political system in the history of China, the centralized system, which exists for more than 2,000 years and was the basis of the community of the Chinese nation. When Emperor Yingzheng was proclaimed emperor, he said that the Qing dynasty could be passed on to the second and third generations until the end of the time, and that Qing dynasty would never die. He also said that the Qing dynasty would never be extinguished. But ironically, only 3 years after the death of Yingzheng, this powerful country was destroyed under the onslaught of the anti-Qing army. The rise and fall of the Qing dynasty has become a mirror of history, making rulers of all dynasties thinking and reflect deeply. So in this video, we just basically introduced the history of the Qing dynasty, which I think is the most important dynasty in the Chinese history. So if you like this video, please follow my channel, like this video, subscribe my channel. See you guys next time. Bye.